that does allow for some nice synergies when it comes to getting things done. So those are some big changes that we realized this year. We've also implemented some new things that we're working on with the staffs, and in my memo to kind of detail some of it. I'll just hit it real quick. We're currently working to have some of our maintenance staff become licensed in trade areas. We have two of our staff members right now who have obtained their apprenticeships in oil and solid fuel and are working towards becoming licensed. That has a long-range plan for allowing us to actually start servicing our own equipment instead of contracting it out. It also gives us the ability to respond to calls quickly, more efficiently. So these are all steps that we're making in the department to kind of help streamline some of the things that are going on. We've also started doing some things differently with the custodial staff. This year, the custodial staff went and refinished the gymnasium floors. In the past, those floors have been contracted out. Well, it's $3,000 to $4,000 to contract one gymnasium floor. This year, we did both gymnasium hardwood floors with in-house staff. We're also going to be doing that in the next coming year here, saving some decent money. I'm a big fan of allowing the staff to do work instead of contracting out. It provides a more sense of pride in our facilities. We've had significant things changing in some of the schools. Pond Cove this year in the middle school have a completely new fire detection system. Had some interesting starts with it. I see Steve's over there shaking his head, so I'm just going to keep moving past the head shake at this point. But we had some interesting alarms go off and we were going to plan on it. We've upgraded, done a lot of upgrades for energy savings. The high school air handlers have been upgraded, new motors and drives that allow us to operate them much more efficiently, so we can start realizing some energy savings. We had, you all been in the Capitoline with that giant wall that slides down, it's called curtain wall. We had that rebuilt this year, kind of with the little rips and some other things that happened. So we've had a lot of good things going on, and the maintenance staff and the custodial staff are pretty busy trying to keep up with the workload that we have. So, but things going real well for that. And so our budget reflects some of these changes that we've made. And I'll just highlight it. We do have a slight increase over last year. And I say slight. Slight on the operating side. The oil side, on the other hand, is a significant increase. And I'll touch upon that. We are currently budgeting $3 a gallon for heat. After I've made some phone calls today, we're a little conservative on that, probably maybe a little too conservative, but we're waiting and seeing what the market is going to do. I'm actually been contacting vendors to try to get a price that hopefully lower than that, but right now it's considerably higher. So that may be an issue we have to address or look at, but that's a significant increase. Where we've had some other increases in it are things like our custodial supplies went up. Well, our custodial supplies went up because our contracting services went down. And that's a reflection of us doing work in-house. We've decreased contracting when I'm doing the hardwood floors to gymnasiums by contract. But we had to pick up the material costs. Of course, that's an ultimate savings. A couple of $1,000 a year savings just by doing that. We did increase a couple of areas also. We picked up integrated test management inspections. We're now doing monthly test inspections in our schools, which is something that the DOE recommends that is done. So we picked that expense up. But overall, that contracted service line budget has decreased. We've also asked for a small increase in our equipment service for our custodial equipment. Some of the equipment is 10 years old, it's starting to get tired. It needs to have additional service to keep it in good operating condition. Our budget, as you can see, mine is, we had the picture up there, it's approximately $180,000 increase. The largest portion of that is heat. We use about 61,000 gallons of heating oil at Concord Middle School and about 71,000 gallons of heating oil at the high school. And you can get, I guess, substantial if you compare that to our houses. With our new boiler plants going into the high school, we're not hoping, we will be decreasing the total gallonage. That hopefully will help offset the cost of the boiler plant bonds. Beyond that, that's what we have for our increases. Our CIP came in at the same level as last year. Most of our operating budgets, maintenance supply budgets all came in at the same level as last year. We feel quite comfortable that we'll be able to continue to provide good quality services to schools. And again, with this additional training of in-house and doing more and more in-house, those savings are realized by non-contracting allows us to actually do more work. So, hopefully, I did that well for you.
Good.
And we stayed warm.
Questions for Greg?
I'd just like to have you explain for the public, the two largest percentage increases are bond and principal payments, both K through 8, 9 through 12. And I think it might be helpful in one forum for you to explain what we're doing with that money and why we're doing it.
Well, as you know, that we are working on installing a new boiler plant at the high school. The boiler plant that we're going to be installing is approximately a $350,000 expense. The town has kicked in approximately $200,000 towards our action. Approximately half, approximately $200,000 into that. There's still $150,000 expense that has to go into it. And those increases in our principal and interest on our bonds reflect those costs that we have to carry for the additional bonds for the $150,000.
The other question, you are developing, I think, a master capital improvement plan.
Correct.
Which is not reflected in this budget, I assume.
Correct. We do have a CIP that is regular capital improvements, which is $176,400. Sorry, I got my glasses back. $450. That is doing improvements to our school. That does pluck away at those capital items that we have started to identify for our schools. And I'll just give you a quick example. The 30th building needs a new roof. That's in that particular CIP. Expanding cameras, security upgrades and things like that in that CIP request. So we are taking those items that we identified to increase our facilities and keep our asset in good working shape.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there a repair for the bleachers in this budget?
There is not repair for the bleachers in this at this time.
Okay.
I guess the question next would be why, unless I didn't hear, why is there not?
We're still developing the cost on the repairs at this point, and don't have that total figure because it is a substantial amount of work to get to the bottom line of what I've got to do to bring the bleachers up to proper operating. So it may be you taking out of our operating budget, some of it, and some of it may out of our CIP budget as we readjust to be able to make some of those changes. It's not listed as a line item at this point, but it may become part of my CIP as we might change things or do some cost savings in other areas to be able to realize those repairs.
So in other words, when you decide on a solution for the bleacher problem, you believe you can cover it with the existing funds you allocated in this budget?
That's my plan.
Yes, I'll let you get away with that. Thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Jeff, you?
All right. Before I get into the budget summary piece, just would like to take a moment and highlight a few of the achievements at the program level and at a student level. Really fortunate to have some of the top-notch facilities in this community. Our kids have a wonderful opportunity to participate on multiple number of playing fields and track, our tennis courts, a pool, and our recent athletic facility down at the Hannaford Field. So in addition to that, I think we have an outstanding booster organization that really, the partnership with the school and the boosters has really supported our students and our programs, and that contribution from the boosters really supplements probably about a third of the athletic budget. So very instrumental in the success of athletics at Cape Elizabeth. Our participation rate is very strong at 70% in the high school and 85% roughly in the middle school. We offer 17 different sports in the high school, so 48 teams. And in the middle school we have 12 different sports and 40 teams. So the opportunity for boys and girls to explore interests and pursue passions is certainly there and thriving. And just in the past 10 years, and I'll kind of talk about some of the other things that Cape Elizabeth students do well at, not just the wins and losses, but just in the past 10 years, 38 conference championships and 33 state championships. So really impressive, and just very fortunate to be part of that program. Cape Elizabeth student athlete. They're students in every essence of the word, with an average GPA of a 90.75. So with the help of Gary's staff, we've been able to look at participation and take GPAs and put all that together, and been able to track that figure. So it's a nice piece to have. So thank you, Gary. Cape Elizabeth student athletes are conference all-stars. They're all-Americans. They're sportsmen and sportswomen. A lot of times I see our students, they're the first ones to help an opponent up, and as a result, there's 6 sportsmanship banners hanging in our gym. They're also musicians, they're actors, they're artists, and I'm not sure if anyone's had an opportunity, but going to some of our sporting events, we have a lot of our students either singing or playing an instrument for the national anthem. And just recently I was at a girls' ice hockey game, and one of our students played the national anthem on her violin. It was just, it was outstanding, it was impressive, and really moved a lot of people in the building. So they're also mentors. Our students are tutoring in the middle school. Student athletes are tutoring in the middle school in the Pond Cove. They're serving on various school committees and extracurricular clubs. They're also youth coaches and youth officials, and role models for our younger students. And I think this most recently at one of our basketball games, just seeing the younger kids asking for the students' autographs and signing shirts and posters, and it was very impressive and fun to be part of. And they're volunteers. Our students are volunteering with Special Olympics, the senior programs, the Cape Elizabeth Fire and Rescue. So they do it all, and they do it all very well. So with that being said, as I kind of put a bright side on things, there is a bit of an increase to the athletic budget, roughly about a 15% increase, which is approximately $18,000. And half of that I had put in for the athletic trainer. And that is a $9,000 increase, basically to provide a more accurate reflection of what we're spending, what the actual spending is for that line item. And comparatively, I think, contacted a couple of our local schools in Yarmouth, their athletic trainers around $30,000, Falmouth spending about $22,000, and Greeley's about $18,000, but difference being their booster organizations are picking up any additional funding beyond